Welcome to day 23 of Provision, Seeing, Receiving, and Resting. Today we want to rest in the truth that you can be content in any season. Our verse of the day comes from Philippians 4, verse 11. Paul says, "Not that I speak from need, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstances I am." Now, content is not a natural starting point for most of us, me included. We tend to believe contentment will come when circumstances improve. When the finances finally stabilize, when relationships are healed, when the uncertainty resolves, or when life just finally feels manageable. But Paul describes contentment as something learned, not as something received. That means it's formed over time, through experiences, through reflection, and through daily trust in God's faithfulness in every season you walk in. This kind of contentment is not in denial of difficulty. Paul was actually writing from a very real lack. He was in prison, in hardship, limitation. Yet he discovered something deeper than circumstances. He discovered a steady confidence in Christ that remained even after the external circumstances shifted. So contentment grows when we stop measuring God's goodness by what changes around us and begin recognizing His presence within every situation we're in, even if they're undesirable. It's this quiet assurance that even when life is not what we expected it to be, God is still with us. He's still working, and He's still enough through every situation. And rest becomes possible when we're no longer chasing a future or a version of life that we believe will finally make us okay and content and happy. Instead, we begin to receive daily grace for the season that we're actually in and living out right now. So there's this freedom in realizing that peace does not have to wait for circumstances to change or to improve. It can exist in the middle of uncertainty and can exist in the middle of fear and doubts because it's rooted in God, not the condition. So let's take a moment to remember. Think about a season in your life that was difficult or imperfect, yet still held moments of peace, growth, or unexpected joy. Maybe it wasn't the season you would have chosen for yourself to be in, but God met you in ways you didn't expect. And as you reflect, notice how contentment may have quietly grown even in places you didn't initially appreciate. I've been on a provision journey with the Lord these past 6 months, really trusting Him as my daily provider, my only provider, my source, my good Father, my shepherd, who promised to take care of me, and He does. Now, have I been completely content and happy and not freaking out this whole time? No. But in weird ways, I've received this supernatural peace and contentment through the overwhelm and the fears and the doubts. And there's days I didn't know how I could make it through. Old me, pre-Christ, would have crawled into a ball and just cried or just got numbed out for who knows how long because of the overwhelm of the season that I was in. Yet God consistently provided the peace and the strength to keep walking through. Even if I felt like it was crawling and I was failing, He still got me through those moments. So reflect on your own experiences in your own life. You may have experiences that are similar, that you can remind yourself that you can be content. Contentment is a gift through even the worst seasons of your life. And if you want to further practice to try to anchor in contentment and practice contentment throughout your day, whenever you feel dissatisfaction or impatience, pause and pray this: God, help me receive grace for this season. Then intentionally notice one thing in your current circumstance that reflects God's care, even if the season isn't perfect. And this evening, write down at least 5 ways you experience God's presence or provision in your current season today. The goal is to train your heart to recognize that contentment is not found in ideal conditions, but in a faithful God who meets you right where you are. Because He is faithful, and He promised to provide, and He does. And He walks with you, even through the valley of darkness, the valley of death. He is with you, and you will not be in need. Just remember Psalm 23 if you want to read that as well. And if you like positive affirmations like I do, here are a few provision declarations to remind yourself of this truth, to really anchor it in, and to calm yourself down when you feel discontent on your walk. Say to yourself, I can be content with God in every season. My peace is not dependent on changing circumstances. God is enough for me right now, not just someday. And today I choose contentment over comparison and rest over restlessness. You have to remind your soul sometimes to chill out a little bit and remember that God has been good, God has been faithful, and He will provide. Ask Him for contentment. Ask Him for the peace and the strength to get through the moment, even if it's in a bad, quote-unquote, bad season that you're in, that you really want to get out of. With me and my financial issues, just learning daily trust. Like, I've had more stress than I care to admit because I forget that contentment and this peace and strength, can go through, and you can experience it even through these very stressful, overwhelming moments in life. So trust God to provide in more ways than just financial. He can provide internal, mental, emotional, spiritual support. So remind yourself that you can be content in this season, and I'll see you tomorrow for another provision exercise and learning to rest in the Lord. I love you.